for anybody watching this right now, you have tuned in to our live episode where Sammi and I are going to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. So we just wanted to come on here. We came on here last year and we talked about what happened over our previous year and celebrating our anniversary. And this second year was way more jam-packed and full of stuff. And so we just wanted to share some of the stuff we did. We also had some surveys, and we're going to announce some winners for the surveys from our giveaway. And thank you to everybody. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. And so what do you want to start off with right now, Sammi?
Maybe we share the new things we've been doing.
Okay, so what have we been doing?
So you may or may not have noticed, we sort of changed the look or the branding of some of the different posts that we do. So we have a new cover for what is actually now the trailer versus the full episode. What else?
So every business, especially media, really everyone should be constantly revamping their brands, maybe updating the logo. I'm sure you've seen Instagram have a new logo. How many different new logos have they had? And so what we're going to do is every year we're going to just kind of make some tweaks and adjustments. So that's something we did. So you'll notice some new things. Instead of a full-length episode on Instagram, what I'm doing is I'm editing out all the takeaways and I'm creating a compilation. So you could watch it in 4 to 7 minutes. You could get a whole episode, at least the takeaways. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there's a lot more inside of those episodes than what I'm pulling out. But that is something else we're doing. Instagram's always changing their requirements for posting long videos. So what about this? What about the infographic? We have a bunch of information that we're going to share. So why don't we share some information to kind of show you where we've been this year. Okay. So Sammi, why don't you do that? We're just going to share a screen a little bit here. So no, that's not the right one.
That. Okay.
There you go. All right, so tell me what we're looking at here.
So a little sort of recap, I guess, of some of the highlights from this past year. So you'll see sort of the types of events that we've been to or even hosted. Going to this past year was our first time ever going to big hair shows. So it was definitely an experience. So we went to a few of those. We also started a newsletter this past year. And the most popular one actually had Robert's blog post about Gen Z versus salon owners and the different sort of perspectives and how each side sort of thinks about certain things, like how long should I be assisting, or I don't know what else.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting. If you look down at the bottom of this, it says most viewed episodes, and you can see that number one most viewed episode was Kelly Gorsuch, and he's a serial entrepreneur and owner of multiple locations. We were talking changes in the salon model, culture, and desire of hairdressers, which is another generational gap conversation. The next one was Soft Skills Equals Successful Stylist by Diana Varvaro, which I just actually interviewed today, and we will be releasing another one of her episodes a little bit later. And that one was really how to grow and build yourself and how to be a successful stylist. And then the third most popular episode was also another interview with Kelly where we talked about salon owners versus Gen Z. And you can see go down, and then after that was Jay Ladner. That was a great conversation we had about what it takes to be successful. And he said he's a big-time manifester, but he also talks about how much work and humility and empathy and commitment, and there is sacrifice to reaching your goals. And I highly recommend you check those out as well. What about the other information? Okay. Show us that other one you got.
Ding, ding, ding. Okay.
Yeah, so that one. So if you look, we talked about most viewed episodes, but if you look down at the bottom, the most asked about topic. So we always kind of do these surveys to ask you all what you want to hear, and then we go out and we find people that have authority and can speak on the topic. And so the most requested was changes in the salon industry, and with a focus on generational differences. Now, that conversation is still being had right now, but it is starting to shift, which kind of brings us in. You can take that down for me. And that kind of pulls us into kind of moving forward with the rest of today's episode and talking about looking forward into the future. And so before we do that, I just want to say, like, this has been an amazing year. What was your favorite, like some of your highlights? Don't say favorite, but highlights. Maybe 2 or 3, the things that stick in your mind that we did or experienced this year.
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is Premiere Orlando. So that was my first like big hair show. I've been to things with Robert where it's more like local and they rent out maybe a theater and someone does like, it's almost like a class or a demonstration on stage. So I had no idea how like big and crazy and like so many people like Premiere Orlando would be. But at my last job, I was the one to like plan and do all the conferences. So I actually was like very at home, and Robert's like, oh my gosh, like where am I? Like, I was like, oh, just like, look at the agenda and do this and do that. He's like, what are you talking about? So
what about the first one that you went to was Presley Poe and Friends? And I remember when we were there and you got pulled on stage to get your hair cut. And Sammi let the artist performing on stage to cut her hair the way I wanted to cut her hair, but she wouldn't let me cut her hair that way.
It was Lisa. She didn't have a model and she was gonna use, I guess, a mannequin, and I was just like standing there and she's like, oh, hey, like, do you want to be a model? I was like, okay, like, I don't know what that means, but sure. So during it, she was like doing the stuff and I was just like sitting there and everyone was like very, very interested in all the different haircuts, and I couldn't see what it looked like, but everyone was like, oh, it looks so amazing. And I went into the bathroom, I was like, oh my God, because like it was, volume, people with curly hair, apparently in volume, I'm more like, I don't want to be noticed, so it's more like this, but it was literally like, I was like, oh my God, but I was like, if all these hairstylists in the room are saying that it's good, well, it must be good because they're the experts, not me.
It was amazing, and we love your hair when it's really big. And okay, so I just want to say thank you to everybody for all of your support, and your input is so very helpful. And I just kind of looking forward to another year. We've gotten a lot of information from you all, and we're trying to take that information we gather and cater our show as well as some other things that we're looking forward to. So we want to tell you some other things that we have coming up. But before we do that, why don't we talk a little bit about what's in store for our travel this year? So first, we're going back to Presley Poe and Friends, and that's going to be at the end of March, and that's going to be hosted by our good friends over at Hairdresser. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So you can look forward to, if we don't see you there, definitely go and check it out at PresleyPoeandFriends.com, right? And we're going to be there reporting live, and we're looking forward to meeting all the artists and potentially getting them on camera. So watch out for that. And then we're going to go back to Premiere Orlando. Mm-hmm. We have not bought our tickets yet, but we anticipate on doing that soon. And what else, Sammi?
You started this sort of traveling workshop, but it's like specifically for rising stylists. Okay,
so good. So this whole past year, you probably know that I've been a little like extra on this conversation about bridging this gap between rising stylists and salon owners in their expectations and communication, and there was a real disconnect. And I feel like the more conversations we have, the better we get at bridging that gap. Just by having these conversations has helped a lot. lot with salon owners. And by going to the schools, like we went to Paul Mitchell's school in New York City, we went to Paul Mitchell's school in Tysons, we went to the Aveda school in Arlington, and every time we talk to young stylists, it seems to be the reality is that there's a lot of things that rising stylists don't know that they don't know, and I think that has a big reason for the disconnect. And so I think what I surmised from all of those conversations is that really it's kind of like, whose job is it to help the rising stylists know what they don't know? You know, the schools can only do so much, and I think it's important for us stylists and salon owners and managers to go visit the schools on a regular basis, put out content where you don't just talk about how you're living your best life or how you can turn somebody into a six-figure hairdresser, but like talk about the efforts that you take. See some behind the scenes stuff. Like get a little bit of raw. Like show what it takes. Show the blood, the sweat, the tears. Because a lot of times I'm finding that the more we have those conversations, the more appreciative that other people are of the efforts that we put in. So in that, I have been talking to a lot of local salon owners and the schools and the rising stylists about what would be beneficial, and by beneficial by helping like bridge that gap, but also get students into salons so that they could see their future employer potentially. And so what I came up with is this concept I'm calling the No Filter Workshop, and it's the Rising Stylist series. The idea is that we spend the first half of the class doing basic business breakdown, understanding business terminology, basic marketing concepts, salon etiquette, communication skills, consultation skills, and also, like, you know, I think it's really important that all stylists have an appreciation for what it takes to run a business, because so many more stylists nowadays statistically have indicated that they want to be a business owner. And, you know, what I've also found is the more information people have on what it takes to actually run a business, then people say, you know, maybe there's room for me to be open-minded. So anyway, like I'm not saying that I think people should rethink their goals. I just think that people should go in with eyes wide open. And if we could catch the up-and-coming stylists early on in their career and help give them the information that they need to make the decisions that they need to, which is like, where do I go to work for a salon? What salon do I go to? Do I go straight into a suite? Is that a good idea? If I do, you know, what do I need to know? And all these things. Well, so that's kind of the idea behind the No Filter Workshop. And then the second half is where we take consultations, communication, salon etiquette, and go and dive into like breaking down pictures and kind of show how that morphs into the actual technical service. And so I hope for it to be a complement, if not a supplement, to apprenticeships in the area, as well as a way for students enrolled in schools to be able to see other salons. So the idea is we travel around. I already have a few apprentices from other salons coming in to take this class. So that's something that I'm working on that's really exciting. But we're also working on something else this year.
Our own event?
Yeah, so we are going to be hosting our own event, and we both believe strongly that hairdresser strong means be holistically strong. It means that you can't just be good at cutting hair, you can't just be good at color, you can't just be good at building relationships. You can't just be good at understanding your numbers and all the business stuff or the marketing. You need to have mental health, and you have to have physical strength in order to do the job that we do, and to survive and have a sustainable career. And in part of that, the biggest part of that, in my opinion, well, the mental health is a big part there. And we've just we're still like just breaking into like getting in person. I'm so happy last year was such a good year for getting in person, but I don't think that it's enough. I think that we need to get together on a local basis, and after talking to many of you, the surveys show at least 50 to 75% of you want to get together. 75% of you want to get together in person. This is on this recent survey, and 50% of you want to get together for just networking, and then another 25% want the networking plus they'd like to hear from local industry leaders. So what we're doing is we're bringing together some local industry leaders to talk and help work through some of the challenges that you all request to be worked through, and to network, build local community in real life. We really all need to get back to doing stuff in person. And so for any of you who would really like to just have brunch, sip some bubbly, and meet some local stylists, it'll be a great opportunity for you to do that. Kind of get out of your isolation, and from behind the screen, we want to go from behind the screen to IRL or in real life. And so we'll work through and share solutions to challenges we're facing. We're talking games, we're talking fun, we're talking panels, we're talking, we want it to be a rich experience. So that's going to be, we're shooting for the end of April, and a date will be coming out soon for that, so definitely check that out.
And in case you don't know, we're located in Washington, D.C.
Yes, we're in D.C. and the event is going to be in D.C. At least right now. Our tentative location is in D.C. and our tentative date is April 30th, so mark your calendars. Okay, so now that we've told you what we're doing this year and what we did last year, I think that it's in time to get into the survey and hear what you all want to hear this coming year. And I am actually very excited about that, because not only is this going to help us plan our in-person event, but also help us figure out who we should be going after for what conversations to bring to you on the show. But it's also going to help us in many other ways as well. So why don't we jump into some of the feedback? I'd like to start with the reasons, what people have gotten out of listening to Hairdresser Strong. So what we're looking at here, we just shared a screen, is the Hairdresser Strong show has helped me. And you can see, I got to get a little closer, sorry. You can see that it says learning from what other salons and stylists are doing, and learning about the new generation are the two top most reasons why people like to watch a show, which is amazing, because the biggest thing that I wanted to do with the show was just a sharing of information so that we can understand what each other are doing. One, it gives us it's oh, I'm doing this thing. Am I the first one to do it? Oh, no, I'm not. Or, hey, I need to have this problem with this thing. Oh my gosh, so many people have this other problem, and I can hear about all these ways of dealing with it. So that's kind of really awesome. And then the third one is feeling empowered, which is a big part of what we're going for. So I thought that was cool. Do you have anything to say on that? No? I can hijack the
Don't do that.
Oops. I can hijack the conversation a little bit. So let's jump over to this. I think this is a really important one. All right, so this says, let's see, where is it? This says, regarding your business and your career in 2023, how worried are you about the following? And instead of going over all of them, I just want to point out that there are the top 5 worries for business looking into 2023 are all have to do with inflation, recession, and prices. So, how do I have a conversation with my customer? There is one right here though. The second, looks like the second most common one was growing a clientele. So there's growing a clientele, inflation, raising prices, having conversations with customers about prices, and then, of course, recession. So that is a very interesting thing because in my opinion, this is the best time to really lay into, this is the best time to really kind of lean into this stuff. Like if you're worried about recession or inflation or price increases, based on my interviews and my own personal experience and my own education, it is definitely like you can listen. Stephen Gomez talked a lot about this. We had an entire episode on kind of recessionary mindset. He said you guys can be in the scarcity mindset. Your customer might be in the scarcity mindset looking forward, which means that you need to be aware of a scarcity mindset is coming through your door. But that doesn't mean that you need to give in to the scarcity mindset. So definitely go back and watch that episode at Steve Gomez, Recessionary Mindset. And now what I think that what we're doing at the salon that I manage and what we're trying to bring into Hairdresser Strong live event and education is we want you to really just lean into growth. During good times, we get a little complacent with our business. We're not really focused as much on growth and tighten things up. And if that's you, and then this is perfect because right now, even if a recession doesn't impact our business, we could use it as an excuse to say, just in case a recession is coming and people are going to start spending their money differently, because that's what happens in a recession. If anybody here in listening was a hairdresser during the 2008 recession, I'd love you to tap a little high five or wave or something like that. I would love to hear, any of your perspectives. And, but like I remember in the last recession, in the 2008 recession, what I noticed was people were just stretching their appointments out further, which meant one, I had more time on my book, but two, it meant that I was losing that extra revenue. Instead of panicking when that starts happening, I think it's better. All right. What's up, Maria Elizabeth? She said that she was here during the last recession. I think it's important to just remember, things bounce back, but like there's a lot of stuff we could do. We could just, hey, why don't we start off by taking an inventory on our customer's experience and seeing like, hey, is there anything we can do to shore up our customer's experience? Like right there, just generating more value. Another thing we could do is we could analyze our costs and see if there's ways where we can cut costs and, really kind of get into it. There's some pretty simple things that we can do, as well as, what's up, Kelly? How you doing? It's really like, there's so much we could do. So we just want to get people together and talk about these conversations in person. And then I'll be looking for people to interview on these topics. And I think we can all do it. Now, some of the specific topics requested in the survey, at the bottom of the survey, you had a chance to write the things that you were interested in hearing more about. And I thought it was fascinating that your interest in hearing about specific topics aligned with your specific topics that you requested matched your worries. So remember when I pointed this out for anybody who just joined, your worries here are primarily about building your business, inflation, raising prices, conversation about prices, and recession. So those had a direct correlation with the most requested items that you wanted us to find other people to talk to about. And they are how to build your book, and understanding your numbers, really getting into your own business and really making sense of your numbers, and social media help. Those three things were in addition to those three things were the things that you requested that we find more guests to interview on. And to me, that kind of lines up with the worries about business. But instead of like a fearfulness, it's like, hey, how can I improve my book building? How can I understand my numbers better? How can I use social media to grow better? And I think that's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. So we're going to get to work looking for people to have those conversations, and we're going to bring some of that into our live event in the spring. Now, yeah.
And if you're curious about the other topics that we did not mention, I would suggest either signing up for our newsletter, because tomorrow I will be sending out an email with sort of like a recap of the survey and also the infographic, Or Saturday, I will also be posting on our Instagram and I guess Facebook, also the survey results. So you can get more details then too.
Yeah, so I'm just going over like a high level, like some of the top stuff, but there's some other interesting information Sammi will be releasing. So make sure that you sign up. They have to sign up for our newsletter? Yeah. So go to our website, hairdresserstrong.com, sign up for the newsletter, and you will get an email tomorrow. Now, there were some extra ideas of things that you wanted to hear about, and I wanted to make sure that there's one thing that you said you wanted to hear more about that we are, admittedly did not focus that much on last year, and that is working on your mental health. You know, anything from the specific thing was like how to just build yourself physically and mentally, strengthen yourself so that you can perform better at work. And so I thought that was cool. I like to hear that people are saying, hey, I know that I could be better if I work on my mental health or my physical health. And I think that that's awesome. So that is, yes.
And I will just add, I think it was last year. Since COVID, all of the sort of timelines blend together. But, you know, over the last 2 years, I will say, at work, for me at least, I was definitely going through some mental health challenges. So I actually ended up taking short-term disability for a few months. And during that time, basically, I got a lot of resources that I am more than happy to share with you all. So that's just reminding me that I have all this stuff, and if I have it, why not share it? Because, yeah.
Why don't you, if you feel comfortable, why don't you sharing a little bit more about what type of resources and what exactly was going on, so maybe some people can relate.
So at the moment, what I thought was the cause, I guess, of the things that I was going through. I just thought I was like very, very busy at work. I felt like everything was urgent all the time, which ended up getting me into a place of burnout. Like I wasn't able to think. I could barely like talk. I was just like so focused, like, oh, I just have to do the work. I can't, like, I would be in the kitchen from like 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. doing who knows what, all the things I thought were more important than like taking care of myself. So some of the resources that I found, first, it was burnout stuff. So trying to do more things that you want to do versus you have to do, because I'm sure we can all relate, like, ugh, I don't want to do that, like all the things that like you have to do. But if you choose to do things that you enjoy, like cooking or, I don't know, knitting or going for a walk or whatever it is, if you incorporate more of those like fun or things that you look forward to into your everyday, it will sort of balance out the things that you actually like have to do. So you won't be focusing like, oh, there's all these things I have to do, because you'll have more balance between have to do and like to do.
I think that's good. And I think it's important to discern the difference between living a life where you only do the things you want to do versus living a life in reality where there are things you have to do, and learning how to live in the world where you have bills to pay and responsibilities. You know, I think it's really important for those of us, and I think all of us could use a little bit of a reminder to take care of ourselves and our mental health. What do you think about that?
I agree, and I think sometimes like there's always like, oh, journaling, and it's like, ugh, journaling, like what do I like, why, like? But one of the things, actually, like my therapist, they were like, okay, just take like 5 minutes, like how are you feeling, why do you feel this way, do I have to do anything about it? Like it can be as simple as that. And it's almost like as you get started, then it's like you're already doing it, so it will just kind of happen. So I think that's also like a good tip. It doesn't have to be all out, it doesn't have to be perfect, like little steps, and I don't know, little steps make progress.
And we're going to hear more from Sammi. One of the other things, there are two things that we're working on. I'm taking the No Filter workshop classes, and I'm going to put them together in some sort of online course. That's my goal for the rest of the year. Yes, the Baddest Barber says the healthy balance is important as well as therapy. I totally agree, and thank you for adding that. Yes, for sure. So we're going to be putting some stuff online, and Sammi will be here and available for some marketing resources as well as mental health resources for this year. So that's something that we're working on right now. So now I think where are we at? You wanna take it from here, Sammi?
I guess the only thing is like the drawing for the winners, but I would say if you haven't given us feedback or let us know the types of things you want to talk about, it's not too late. You could always put in the comments here, send us an email, send us a DM, anything, but we always want to hear from you because we're doing this for you and we can always grow together, and like we want to know what you want to hear. So please let us know.
All right, so I guess it's time to announce the winners. So what are we giving away? Remember, if you filled out the survey, you were entered and you opted in to enter the win, then we have a little bit of gifts for you. I mean, we're just grateful that you're giving us your feedback, and so we want to give you something in return. So we are giving away. We got a little swag bag, and you can't see what's in it, but you'll know what's in it if you fill out the survey because it was a list of stuff. It's just some branded swag from us, so you can rep Hairdresser Strong, even if it's at night for your pajamas. Okay. And then also a 1-hour beauty business advising session with me. I'm gonna offer myself up. I do some like basic one-on-ones, and I also do some like startup beauty advisor. I work a lot with rising stylists and people that are, salon. I've worked with salon owners as a consultant to help them improve and enhance efficiencies, implementing systems, working to improve communication between the owner, management, stylist. So that's a session. It could just be us talking about your goals. That's something that I love to do, is help work through an SMART goals session where we break your goals and turn them into steps. So anyway, that's one of and then the other one is a session with Sammi where she'll share her marketing tips on what's helped Hairdresser Strong continue to grow. And if you've noticed, we focusing more on organic growth as opposed to pushing more on the viral end of stuff. Would you say that that's right? So I think this year we're going to turn it up a little bit. I think everybody that's following us is a pretty solid audience member. And so anyway, what type of as far as the marketing session
stuff
goes.
I think that I actually helped Robert's salon during the pandemic revamp their entire website and sort of started their social media back up again. So I created templates. I did a lot of things. So honestly, what I would want to do is, I don't know, with the winners, see what you're interested in learning about. See if there's aspects of your business that you might want tips on. If it's website, email templates, the best time to post things, anything like that. I feel like we can work together to figure out how to best, use the hour together.
And then we have Lindsay Means. She is a human design expert, and she's offering a free Start Living by Design course. It's a $55 value, so you can learn about your human design and you can get assistance in basically understanding yourself. I'm going to be releasing an episode with her on that, and where she talks a lot about that, but she wanted to offer it. It sounds basically like get to know yourself in a way where you understand what type of environments work best for you, what type of communication work best for you, and you learn things about yourself that you didn't even know. It sounds interesting, and she's offering the intake process for free, so that's one of the gifts. So anyway, Sammi, you want to announce the winners?
Okay, we're going to read out people's email, and for the winners, we will send an email. I'm not going to say tonight because, it's kind of late. But in the next 2 days, we're going to send an email asking you for a few things so we can send you some items, but also schedule these advising sessions. So the first winner is soccermon19@yahoo.com. So congrats to you. The second person, and I'm sorry if I pronounce these emails not right, but JD's Forever at iCloud.com.
Or JDS Forever, maybe, at iCloud.com. Don't worry, you'll be getting an email. And
the last one is info@inspiresalonmd.com.
Yep. All right. Well, congratulations to our winners. Thank you all for joining us now live, and thank you for your feedback. Expect us to work hard on getting you more resources to tackle the topics that you mentioned in those surveys. They will be the focus of our year, and at least the first 6 to 9 months. Maybe by summertime into fall, we might be trending into something else. It really just depends on what happens with the economy. If we don't see any downturn in the economy, then that's going to be amazing, and no one is really heavily impacted. I've been having a lot of conversations with you all, and so far most of you are just now starting to hear your customers talk about price elasticity. Price elasticity means that you are sensitive to price. The more price goes up, the less you're willing to buy. So if people become a lot more conscious of price, then that's going to affect our services. And so, what are all the things that we can do to work on that? Now, and I think this is a very important topic. And so I really want to hear from you if you're having any situation where you're experiencing it. If you're having success, what are you doing to find success with people who are concerned about price? If you haven't experienced that yet, I think it'd be interesting to hear from you as well, and check in back in with you in 6 months. I follow the macroeconomy stuff very closely, so I'm a little obsessed over it, but it also, I think, makes me a little paranoid. And I find that the paranoia is very beneficial to running a business, because then you're prepared and you're constantly revamping and reinventing and taking inventory on what can you do to make sure that you're staying on top of trends, as well as best practices and communication styles, etc., to constantly be generating value for your customers. So anyway, that's it. Anything else you would like to add?
I would just say, I think this is maybe the first or second time we've gone live. So if you like it, if you want more of those sorts of things, or we maybe have more dialogues or more interactive kind of live sessions, I guess, let us know too. I know we're sort of new to it, but now that we've done it once, I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and have a good evening. And the winners, you'll be hearing from us. And if you have anything else to add or any comments or feedback, please, we love it. Hit us up in the DM. All right. Talk to you soon. All right, y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks again.